What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday to you. It's a Tuesday edition of Back Your Play with Q. I'm your host, as always, Rich Quinones. And don't forget, you can hashtag BYP. Follow me on all social media platforms, IG, Twitter, at RichQNQ. Check me out on Facebook. And you guys have been phenomenal. So I want to get into a couple of things. Later on this evening, we're also going to go live once again with a Tuesday evening edition of BYP. We've got some good guests coming up during the week. We got the NFL playoffs right around the corner. If you stayed up last night for that debacle of the national championship game, God bless you for that one, right? Who saw that one coming? A lot of people did. Not 65-7, but still, Georgia is a monster team. So I posted a short the other day, and I clipped it and I tagged it on Twitter regarding Aaron Rodgers, who I think when it's all said and done, Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great quarterback. I think we can agree with that, yes? But if you really look at his career, its entirety as a whole, he might go down as one of the all-time greats and one of the all-time best when it comes to throwing the football and talent. Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great choker. And I really don't think that a lot of people, they just don't want to touch that sometimes, right? A lot of talking heads don't want to touch that. Listen, he's not the same quarterback he once was. His number's almost pedestrian. But if you go back, look what transpired Sunday night, again, at home in a must-win game against bite your kneecaps and the coming after you, the surging Detroit Lions. Aaron Rodgers couldn't even crack 200 yards, 16 points, and throw a horrible pick that reminded a lot of Green Bay fans of who? Brett Favre. The irony is, if that was his last pass thrown at Lambeau and it was a pick, well, how about this? 2007, when Brett Favre threw a pick to Corey Webster in the NFC Championship game against the New York Giants, and the rest, as they say, is history. But as I mentioned, how many times has this guy had an opportunity to shine in the big spot, and he's folded like a cheap suit? And the numbers don't lie. Even if you're looking at some of these games where they were favored or when they weren't favored, but yet they were playing at home. I mean, I made a list, man. 1-4 in NFC title games, right? 12-10 in the playoffs. That is his record. So if we're going to criticize all these other quarterbacks in the NFL for not getting it done, he is not immune to criticism. He's not. And if we're going to give the bulk of the congratulations and the respect and the accolades, and that's a hell of a job by some of these quarterbacks, then you also have to turn around and take the good with the bad. And in this case, you got to criticize them a little bit. Green Bay went to the Super Bowl, won it in 2010. Since then, they've been to the playoffs 9 times. They haven't even sniffed the Super Bowl. Right? How many NFC championship losses? How many bad losses? Those games against Arizona, the one where he fumbled and he kicked it up in the air and they lost that high scoring game. The losses to San Francisco, the losses to Tampa Bay. When they won in 2010, they were 15-1 the following season. They were just railroading the rest of the NFL and the NFC. And then along come the little Giants and they go on the road and Eli outplays Aaron Rodgers, and that game was a debacle if you're a Packers fan. They got squashed in that one, and the Giants went on to win their second Super Bowl. So my point is this: if you look at some of these games, going back 2013 at home, wild card game, get out. 2017, remember that Atlanta game? Now, granted, Atlanta was favored by 5.5, but they raced out to a 31-0 lead and then waxed them 44-21. 2020 NFC title game, you lost by 17 to San Francisco. San Francisco was favored. You also were favored in 3 in Green Bay in 2021, and you lost to Tampa Bay. I can keep going back. 2020, lost to Tampa Bay 31-26 at home. NFC title game, as we just mentioned. 2015 against Arizona, you lose 26-20. 2014, you lost 28-22. I think it was like 19 of 34 for $178. 2013, you lost at home to San Francisco 23-20. So as great as Aaron Rodgers is, it reminds me also of Peyton Manning, right? Peyton Manning, we can argue statistically, regular season, Sunday to Sunday for 16 weeks, was the greatest quarterback maybe we've ever seen of this generation. But come playoff time, he had his skeletons in the closet, right? He had his bugaboo. Aaron Rodgers is the same thing. And he's not the same quarterback he once was, man. He just isn't. And the mystique of going into Lambeau, remember, nobody ever beat the Packers in Lambeau. Nobody can ever go to Lambeau and win on the road. And then we saw Vic do it. Then we saw Eli do it twice. I mean, there's no mystique anymore. But yet you're at home Sunday night And all we heard for the last several weeks were, relax again, get back to 500. Now you got wide receivers making plays, not dropping balls. All the talking heads in the NFL, every one of their mother said, quote, you don't want to see the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs if they get in. If they get in, they're going to roll through. Here you go. Here's the march. It's all set up once again for Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man. And what do? You go out and you can't beat the Lions. And this is no disrespect to the Lions, who played their asses off, who played their heart out, their guts out. This is more about Rodgers not getting it done. We are so quick to rip these other quarterbacks and get on these other quarterbacks and criticize these other quarterbacks for failing in the big spot. And it's almost like taboo. It's sacrilegious to go after Aaron Rodgers. He's an all-time great. He's an all-time great. He's going to roller skate into the into Canton, into the Hall of Fame. But this guy's an all-time choker. He's not a clutch quarterback. And you can't tell me different. You can't. And even if you go back a couple of years ago, it was all set up for them and they lost again. They choked again. So my main issue is more of, we are so quick to pull the trigger and call these other guys choke artists. They can't get it done. But I feel as though when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, it's almost like he's untouchable. Nobody wants to criticize Aaron Rodgers. Nobody wants to say Aaron Rodgers is a pedestrian. No one wants to say Aaron Rodgers looks disinterested, or he's a shot fighter, or he just doesn't have it anymore. It's almost like taboo. Listen, Father Time is undefeated. You cannot defeat Father Time. You just can't. No one will ever, even Tom Brady eventually will lose to Father Time. Now, if you want to say he is somewhat of a exception to the rule for the time being, so be it. But with Aaron Rodgers, big spot, man, when you're that guy and you're the franchise quarterback in the face of the franchise and you make that type of money and you want to have the decision-making thrust upon you, you want to have a hand, a say in coaches and scheme and players and this and that, you also got to back it up with the play, right? And unfortunately, regular season, absolutely, MVP, here you go. Great thrower of the football. You got to love what he does. Sidestep, draws them off sides. The Hail Marys. We love all that. Roller skate right into can. Come playoff time, it's a different animal, man. It's a different animal. He is not a clutch quarterback. He is not. And maybe you guys are probably saying, wait a second, choking is too strong. I don't believe so. Because if we can say for other athletes and other quarterbacks and other players in different leagues, we can certainly say it about Aaron Rodgers. Again, all-time great, but an all-time great choker. And I got to be honest, I think we might have seen Aaron Rodgers, even though we talk about the money when him coming back in the contract, I think we might have seen Aaron Rodgers throw his last pass. And it kind of comes full circle, doesn't it? Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers kind of waiting in the wings. Brett Favre, 2007 overtime, Corey Webster, horrible pick, just threw it up there. How many times have we seen that in Brett Favre's career? And then we saw Aaron Rodgers with the horrible pick with about 3:30 something to go in the game the other night, a chance to take the lead and ultimately win it and get the Packers in the playoffs. So as I mentioned, let me know your thoughts. Comment down below, follow me on Twitter. You can come at me with it. You can throw the stats. We don't mind. If you like what you see, we don't ask for much. Just subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, later on this evening, we'll bang out 2 editions of BYP, but always appreciate you guys keeping us locked in. Let me know your thoughts. Again, Aaron Rodgers, all-time great, but an all-time great choker.